Back with a video. Shout out to this brother. He's going to be talking about his thoughts on the Pop the Balloon show that I reacted to as well. I shared his channel in my community post, so you guys can check his channel out. He got some really great content. But let's see what this brother has to say.
Alright, so we in the bootleg office once again, because I wanted to address that whole balloon pop video with the sister that rejected the light skinned guy the way she did. Now, before I begin my assessment, I just want to clear up a few things, right? First and foremost, this is not about getting market share to get women to like us, because I'm reading some of these comments and it's like, oh, like, just because she don't like you, don't make her color, all this other stuff. It's not about getting black women per se to find us attractive. That's not what this is about. We're just addressing the negative connotations that comes with being light skinned, like automatically getting put in a box. That's
Facts.
what comes.
Facts, and this is a blatant disrespect because they have basically no disregard for light skinned men, and they think it's okay to publicly humiliate light skinned dudes, because that's all it's really. It's not about a preference. It's about them trying to publicly humiliate light skinned men. Not only has it been acceptable in the black community for very long, also they're trying to make it a worldwide trend to do that. That's what I'm trying to get you brothers to understand. And shout out to Forlight, because he just shared on his community post about it's going on Netflix now. That show that, because that's been the goal the whole entire time, is to basically to publicly humiliate light skinned dudes. And that's what the black community wanted, the dark skinned community. All right, and they want to marginalize you guys.
With this is what most light skinned.
And if it was about them liking us, black women, this is not a new trend that black women and black people have been doing. Like, light skinned dudes have been suffering in silence with this for a very long time. Like, it's not anything new. I'm talking about decades and decades and decades and decades of dark skinned people doing this to light skinned people, specifically the men. But notice how we never beg them to like us. All right, so it's not about getting black women to like us. He was right on that. All right, we don't care about them. At least the men don't.
Or addressing it, or people who do care for the cause. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, like, let's keep it real, right? It's a trending thing. You know what I'm saying? It's trending, and sometimes when things are trending, people don't even, make an analysis of why it is. They just go along with the trend, and that's what I'm addressing. It's like, no one's having like a mind of their own these days. And this is why things need to get broken down and analyzed, kind of like what I do for a living, so that we can address certain patterns and trends and then make an assessment of why that's happening, right?
Right, you light skinned dudes need to speak up more about this. It's not a trend. It's not funny to get people to hate people and for no reason. All right, and they've been doing this for a very long time. It's not even a trend. It's a blatant agenda that dark skinned people have, and that light skinned women are helping them out on. Not all of them, but a lot of them, and a lot of you light skinned dudes are helping them out too by not saying anything. And shout out to Vanguard, because he even made this perfect statement. He's basically said that, why is it only light skinned men who have to laugh at the fact that they're being made fun of or being persecuted or whatever? Why come nobody else? He said, do dark skin people, do they laugh at themselves when they're getting mocked? Do they laugh at themselves for being dark skinned? And the answer is no. Same thing with any other group of people. Do white people laugh at themselves for being white? No. What about Mexicans? Do Mexican men make fun of themselves when people crack jokes on them all the time? No, they don't. But when it comes to the light skin or the mulatto man, he always have to laugh at these corny jokes that you keep seeing all over the internet. And notice, it's not about the preference. It's about the harassment and the public humiliation. And you can tell that that's what they're doing, because even out of dating, like, they go out of their way to basically basically to try to quote unquote cyberbully light skinned dudes on Facebook and make these derogatory and these um, inflammatory statements about light skinned dudes and um, pretty much harassing them on the internet.
So, with that being said, you know, how many times, like, as light skinned men, I'll even address light skinned brothers, how many times, like, you've heard that? You've heard, oh, I don't like light skinned men, right? And then when you ask them why, right? Or even if you care to, because I don't even care to ask, because if I can feel the vitriol behind the way they say it, right? It's like kind of like it's and you know what? Let's flip it. Let's flip it, right? It's like if I say I'm engaging with a dark skinned sister, and she says to me, and then I say to her, I don't like dark skinned women, right? Let's keep it real. How is the reaction to that? Like, how is the reaction to just specifically saying dark skin? Don't even say you're just not attracted. Specifically saying that. How is the reaction to that? Is it usually met with grace, or is it met with a sense of aggression and them kind of like poking at it, like as if like, you know, as if like, why are you saying this, right?
Facts. And you see on the Pot of Balloon, so they had a light skinned guy who said he preferred light skinned women like him. He like he was mixed. And that black girl got in her feelings about that. All right, you could tell her ego was definitely hurt about that. All right, but notice the difference between us getting rejected and them.
Um, and rightfully so, right? Rightfully so. If I'm just blatantly saying it like that, and it's the tone too, sometimes too, right? Is that I'm saying it like I'm disgusted by it, you know. And that's the tone usually that comes what I get sometimes, you know, from black women specifically, right? Like there are times I got rejected, right, for my skin tone, and then I'll be like, all right. And I remember there was a few times where I'll even ask, I'll be like, just curious, why not, right? And you would hear things that have nothing to do with my physical features. It's just hearsay. Oh, y'all feminine. I even had one sister tell me, I don't want a man who thinks he looks better than me, right? And like I said, if y'all not careful, y'all devalue your own selves with some of these quote unquote insults y'all throw at us, right? And I even said to her, right, I said, well, why would you think that I would think I look better than you? Why would that thought even come into your head? Because that's not what's going on in my mind. And I would even ask, I was like, what brought that conclusion along? And it's just this whole, you're devaluing yourself and you think you're insulting me, but you're actually just devaluing yourself as a dark-skinned woman.
Facts. And all you're doing is just showing your insecurities. It ain't got nothing to do with me. All right, but a lot of dark skinned people, especially dark skinned females, they want to get all groups of females and dark skinned men as well. They want to get all people they want to brainwash them into having the same mentality they have, especially towards light skinned dudes and light skinned people. That's what this thing is really about. And I got a video coming about the Dominicans and the Puerto Ricans on why these dark skinned FBAs want them to claim black. Because they want them to deculturalize themselves and they want them to basically embrace the same degenerate stuff that they're doing.
Or as a black woman in general. And then it is just so crazy. And then you have the other side to it where you even have light-skinned sisters saying that. And I remember I had a light-skinned woman tell me that. And I'm like, but we're like the same skin tone. I don't get it. It's like, oh, I don't want to look like brother and sister. So you're basically saying your attraction to me is contingent upon what other black people view us as, or other.
Facts. And it's just black people. I tell y'all before that light skinned women, not all, they worship dark skinned people. Not only do they worship them, a lot of them, I told you before, they worship their ideology that they make up. So that y'all brother have to understand that. And on top of that, hold on. And notice that it's just dark skinned people. They always view you based off what a dark skinned man or a dark skinned female done told them. It's not even their own. I wouldn't have a problem with light skinned women if they really felt that way, but you could tell they're learning this stuff from somebody. It's not even their brainchild. It's not even their personal opinion. They're just telling you what dark skinned people said or saying or thinking. All right.
People in general view us as, because why don't white people look at it that way? Ask yourself that. Why to me is constricted upon what other black people view us as, or other people in general view us as. Because why don't white people look at it that way? Ask yourself that.
Fact.
Why don't two white people look at it so like their brother and sister? And I've seen white people who have blonde hair, blue eyes that look alike, and they're dating just fine. So when y'all just, I don't know, it's just very strange. I just find it very interesting that you could say that, but then like I even had sisters that say that about like reject me, but then turn around and said they can date a white man, and like I said, I'm not too far.
Oh, they're notorious for doing that. They're notorious for doing that. All right, black women, especially dark skinned women, because the light skinned black women, not all, but a lot of them they just got identity issues, and they're just like the dark skinned women's, like her minion. All right, but dark skinned women are notorious for that. They're notorious for trying to marginalize light skinned men and cock block light skinned men, and trying to get other groups of women to view them the same way that they allegedly view light skinned dudes. And I don't know why they do that. And they basically will marginalize a light skinned guy to them just so they can turn around and just so they can turn around and reject light skinned dudes and get with a white guy. They're notorious for doing that. Like, that's what they do.
From a white dude's complexion. So I just find that very interesting. And just then you make the conclusion from gathering all the information, the intel, the receipts, and then you just come to the conclusion that this is just a thing, either a humbling tactic or something generated to just break our confidence now as light-skinned men. And the end result is like, because like even when we had a little pushback to it, what are people saying? This is why we don't like light-skinned men, right? I've seen comments like that. This is why we don't like light-skinned men. Why? Because we're defending ourselves?
In fact, light-skinned brothers do not fall for that. Keep defending yourselves. Of course, you want to be smart. You know, like the scriptures say, you want to be harmless as a dove, but wise as a serpent. Don't quote me, but it says something like that. But don't fall for that. You know, light-skinned dudes, we've been falling for that for a very long time. And that's just a tactic they use, a brainwashing tactic they use to get light-skinned men not to speak about it, the abuse. Because colorism is just a social climbing tactic for dark-skinned people, and it's also it's basically an excuse for them to basically abuse light-skinned people without them doing anything back. That's all colorism is really about.
Because we're just defending ourselves and saying like, why is she saying what she's saying, or addressing certain hate that we get. Now it's, oh, this is why we don't like light-skinned men. So we can't just big ourselves up. But see, that's how you know it's a humbling tactic. It's something made to genuinely break our confidence down in ourselves, to make us second guess ourselves. But in reality, in my opinion, you know, I don't see nothing wrong with you loving yourself as a light-skinned man. But when we do it, as you can see, when we stand up for ourselves, when we show confidence in ourselves, it's an issue. And I've seen even dark-skinned men to speak highly of themselves. You see it all the time on social media. No one bats an eye. No one bats an eye.
Yeah, absolutely. They can look at their lips. They can do all this stuff. But since they feel more insecure around an ugly dude, an ugly dark-skinned dude especially, that makes it okay. These agendas are only directed towards light-skinned dudes. You can tell. And you can tell their goal is to make light-skinned men feel inadequate in comparison to dark-skinned men, because they're always trying to compare a dark-skinned dude to a light-skinned dude. I said in my last video, I said, why come they never compare dark-skinned men to white men or Asian men? Why is it only light-skinned dudes who y'all constantly compare these dudes to? It's weird. It's Clinton agenda.
That's fine, and that's the thing we're saying here. At least I can't speak for every light-skinned man, but I know the ones I know and the ones I interact with. that is perfectly fine with people embracing how much they love their own skin tone in the black community. We're not saying that you're not allowed to do that. We're saying is, why is it an issue when we embrace it? Why is it an issue when we question certain things, certain hate being pointed towards us? Why is it an issue when we're calling out certain hypocrisies going on? Why does that bother? Why is that trigger other black people? And it's only typically with us as light-skinned men, because light-skinned women don't get it as much because they get propped up by thirsty dark-skinned ninjas. At this point, I think a light-skinned sister could fart in front of a dark-skinned black man and you still want to eat. Let me not even say that. But still be on her body. Like, it's crazy. But then they'll turn around.
That's a fact. He said that basically a light skinned girl could fart in a dark skinned dude's face. He's still gonna want to mess with it. That's true. All right, a dark skinned dude will lay down with anything. They know that, and they're just taking advantage of them. You know, a dark skinned nigga lay down with anything: a dog, a cat, an alligator, a possum. Yeah, and you light skinned dudes who like to hang around them dark skinned dudes, y'all better be careful. You better not play basketball with them and actually bend over, because you're telling what they'll do. No homo. So that is a real thing. They are thirsty as hell
And hate
for anything that's high yellow or lighter than them.
It's like, even when I walk in the streets, like, all right, I'm gonna give y'all a good example, right? I remember when I was dating a woman the same skin tone as me. We were just messing around or whatever, right? And we went out.
Make a part to this.